Picture this. An American lands in Paris, checks into the hotel, walks into the bathroom, and stops. Something is wrong with the toilet. The bowl is almost empty. A tiny puddle at the bottom where there should be a small lake. Meanwhile, a French traveler in Chicago is having the opposite crisis, staring into a bowl filled nearly halfway with water, genuinely wondering if it's broken and about to overflow. Same invention, same century, two completely different machines. And the difference isn't taste, and it isn't random. It's two different answers to one engineering question. And buried inside the American answer is a federal law, a black market that ran across the Canadian border, and a third country that looked at both designs and beat them. We'll get to the smuggling. First, why is there an ocean in the American bowl? Flush toilets conquered the world in the late 1800s, and the design that spread across most of the planet is called the washdown toilet. The principle is brutally simple. A sudden rush of water shoves everything down a wide, short drain. Gravity does the work. Minimal standing water, a steep, glossy bowl, a wide throat that almost never clogs, very little water per flush. Europe uses it. Most of Asia, Africa, and South America use it. Japan builds its robot toilets on top of it. So flip the question. European toilets aren't empty. They're the global default. The real mystery is why America, alone, at scale, committed to something completely different. And the answer starts with what's hidden behind the porcelain. The American toilet is a siphonic toilet, and it doesn't push waste down. It pulls it. Behind the bowl, the hidden pipe called the trapway is shaped as a long, narrow S-curve. When you flush, water accelerating through that curve fills it completely and creates a genuine siphon, a vacuum that physically sucks the contents of the bowl out. That gurgle at the end of every American flush, that exact sound, is the siphon breaking, air snapping back into the pipe. A European toilet never makes that sound because there is no siphon to break. And the famous pool of water isn't decoration, it's physics. A siphon needs a large, deep water surface to seal the system and prime the pull. No lake, no vacuum. The water level in an American bowl is set by the geometry of a pipe you will never see. Why commit to the complicated version? Because the siphonic design has two superpowers. One, that huge water surface keeps the bowl dramatically cleaner. Waste hits water, not porcelain, which means fewer marks, less brushing, and far less odor. Two, the flush is quieter and feels somehow more complete. Hold that thought, because feels more complete is about to become the entire story. The siphonic toilet won America in the same decades, with the same playbook, as the clothes dryer and the dishwasher. The post-war boom, when appliance makers sold modernity itself. American Standard and Kohler marketed the full, quiet, self-rinsing bowl as the civilized choice, and the implication wrote itself. The splashy, smelly, scrub-it-yourself washdown was the old world. The thing your immigrant grandparents had. By mid-century, the question wasn't which design is smarter, it was settled identity. A proper American bathroom had a quiet toilet with a generous pool, the same way a proper American backyard had a dryer instead of a clothesline. One continent chose user experience, the rest of the world chose system efficiency, and both sides stopped noticing they had chosen anything at all. Until the day the American design collided with the United States Congress. Here's the act nobody expects in a toilet video. Classic American toilets were thirsty. Old models used 13 liters or more per flush, multiple times what a European washdown needed. Through the 80s, as droughts hit and cities strained, that started to look indefensible. So in 1992, Congress passed the Energy Policy Act, and from 1994, every new toilet sold in the United States was legally capped at 1.6 gallons, about 6 liters. The first generation of low-flow siphonic toilets was a disaster. The siphon design needs water volume to generate its pull, and with half rations, early 90s models simply didn't work. Double and triple flushing became a national joke. Plumbers' phones rang off the hook. And then the truly American thing happened. A black market. Throughout the 90s, Americans drove into Canada, where the old 13-liter tanks were still legal, and smuggled full-size toilets back across the border in pickup trucks and minivans. Contractors quietly sourced them. Newspapers wrote about toilet smuggling runs to Windsor and Vancouver. A federal law had turned the bathroom fixture into contraband. It took the industry years of genuine engineering, redesigned trapways, glazed channels, pressure assist tanks, actual computational fluid dynamics applied to porcelain, before the modern 6-liter and 4.8-liter siphonic toilet finally worked properly. And notice what America didn't do at any point in that struggle. Switch to the washdown design the rest of the world already had, which would have solved the water problem instantly. The siphon wasn't a technology anymore, it was an identity. America didn't abandon its toilet. America spent 20 years engineering around it. Now the detail that reframes a corner of your own home. That elegant siphon has a structural cost. For the suction to work, the S-curve trapway must be narrow, and a narrow throat clogs. This is why the plunger is a standard object in American households, sold in every supermarket, sitting beside basically every toilet in the nation. Most Europeans don't own a plunger. Many have never operated one. The wide, straight throat of a washdown toilet almost never blocks. The American clog is not user error. It's a side effect of the design's own superpower. An entire continent's relationship with a rubber cup on a stick decided by pipe geometry. Once you see it, you can identify a country's toilet design from its hardware store shelf. And then there's the country that refused the whole dilemma, Japan. Japanese manufacturers, Toto above all, took the water-efficient washdown base and made the seat the product. Heated seats, integrated warm water bidets, dryers, deodorizers, lids that rise as you approach. The washlet is in the overwhelming majority of Japanese homes, and it quietly exposes what the American and European designs both are: century-old compromises. America optimized the water. Europe optimized the pipe. Japan asked whether the porcelain was ever the point, and optimized the human. Meanwhile, bidets, standard across Southern Europe and Japan, remain so rare in the US that American tourists routinely photograph them. 3 rich societies, 3 completely different machines, all flushing toward the same sewer, each privately convinced the other 2 are weird. And honestly, every design is right about different things. The American siphon prioritizes the user's 5 minutes. Cleaner bowl, less smell, less scrubbing. The European washdown prioritizes the infrastructure. Minimal water, no clogs, simple plumbing that lasts. The Japanese washlet prioritizes the body itself. None of these is the smart one. They're 3 value systems fired into porcelain decades ago and installed by the hundreds of millions. So normal at home that travelers in every direction are convinced the others are malfunctioning. That's the pattern this channel keeps finding. The most ordinary objects in your life are frozen decisions. Somebody chose an engineer, a marketer, a congressman, and the choice hardened into just how things are. So completely that you have flushed thousands of times without once asking why the water sits where it sits. Now you know. It isn't water. It's history, holding its shape. So settle it in the comments. Team full bowl or team empty bowl? And which country are you flushing in? Americans. How many plungers do you own? Be honest. Europeans. Have you ever bought one in your life? And if anyone's family actually smuggled a Canadian toilet? In the 90s, I need that story more than you can imagine. Subscribe. Next, why new American houses are built to last only 50 years. You'll never look at a construction site the same way.